space.
Hello Minecrafters. First thing you're probably going to notice is that I installed a texture pack. It's called the RPG Realism Texture Pack. It's really cool. It's high definition. This is cobblestone below us and new water effects. I did take a little bit of hit to my frames per second, but it's definitely manageable. Even when I'm recording, I'm still getting between 35 and 50, so pretty happy about that. If you guys don't like it, maybe I'll change it back. I don't know. I like this. It looks really cool. I mean, glass is actually glass. You can actually see through it very easily. Anyway, what am I doing here in an ice lake? Well, the last week and a half or so, I've done a lot of work in Minecraft. Been very busy. And this is the location of my new base. And why am I staring at the water? Well, I didn't want to turn around and ruin the surprise. And a Hollywood pan. Yeah, welcome to the new mob system. Some big changes from the last one. Number one, the first new mob, I actually built two new mob systems here. The first one is that floating platform, and that was my first attempt at, let's call it Mob System 2.0. And right now, I have it set for passive mobs. You can use it for both, or either. And it's really just a sky platform with grass, so it spawns the passive mobs. And it's similar to my other mob system designs. You just have canals. Let me turn the sound down. Just canals that bring the mobs to, and these spawning platforms I think are like 13 or 14 by 14, something like that. The mobs fall in, canals bring them to 3 separate traps instead of my old one just having 1. I found it was much more efficient to have 3 traps, just 3 lava blades, so each canal has its own trap, so mobs die faster. I don't have to move them to a central location to kill them. And secondly, I made a second level up here. I haven't really finished this one yet. I'll probably build a wall around it as well. Those floating blocks are to prevent the water source blocks from freezing, because this is a cold environment. And the secret here, it's mobs fall into these canals and they fall directly through this hole down to the first canal on the bottom level where they die. I decided to build vertically instead of horizontally because of how the spawning system works, and I'll give you a quick, at least an idea of how that happens. In Minecraft, when mobs spawn, well, first of all, the game map is divided into what they call chunks, and a chunk is 16 wide by 16 long by 128 tall. So it goes all the way up to the sky and all the way down to bedrock. So, I mean, this is about the size of a chunk, some of these platforms. And there's a certain amount of chunks surrounding you that are active at any one time. And active meaning they're growing crops and spawning mobs and updating. I've heard a lot of different numbers for this. I've heard 9 chunks in every direction. I've also heard 17 chunks in every direction. I don't think either of those are right. I think it's somewhere in between. But what I'm saying basically is there's a limit to how big your mob system can be horizontally, and whatever that number is, the bigger you build it sideways essentially, the number one, the less, at one point you're going to have mobs that just won't spawn as you get towards the end, and secondly, the bigger it is, the longer it takes you to deliver the mobs to the center where the traps are and where the loot collection is. So instead of messing around with that, I decided to build smaller platforms horizontally and then stack them on top of each other. because the chunks are active. The chunks are 128 deep each one, so I could have, you know, this stacked all the way up to the top of the map, and they'll all be active and they'll all be spawning mobs. So that's a much more efficient way of doing things than just making a big open room like in underground, a big platform. So I came up with that idea, and it's worked fairly well. And while I was working on this one, I came up with a new idea that would be more efficient, so I'll show you that in a little bit. You know, actually, I might show you that in the next episode, because I want to do a whole episode on the new hostile mob system, the mob system 3.0, I guess you can call it. But this is pretty standard. This is just, I haven't finished this top part yet, but it's just spawning platforms with canals, and the only difference really is that the canals drop down into the bottom canals. It's very simple, and the reason that I just don't have them walk off the edge is because the mobs won't. If there's more than I think a 3 or 3.5 block drop, the mobs will not walk off the edge of something. They'll just stand there like a bunch of retards. So I use the water to drop them down, and you drop down into down here, and you die. So works pretty well. I like this texture pack, and it makes the grass look really cool. Let me put some dirt back there. Getting the dirt up here, the grass up here was a challenge. It was a real challenge. I had to build a spiral staircase, and then eventually I decided to use pistons just to push a grass block up. I needed that to spawn the passive mobs. And I also started putting the torches above the ground. And the reason for that is I've heard a lot of people talking about if mobs can or cannot spawn on top of torches. So if I put one here, some people say that a mob can't spawn on this block. Some people say they can. I tested it, they can. But I don't know if the mobs prefer not to spawn on those. So I put it up here just to be safe. You never know. And it looks better in any case. Secondly, I built a wall around this, both for obvious and non-obvious reasons, because I had this running as a hostile mob system for a while. So I wanted it to be dark during the day, obviously. But secondly, I had a theory for the longest time about light levels and mob spawning. I was convinced, that the hostile mobs preferred to spawn in as little light level as possible. So right now we're at light level 9, and by the way, that's a mod up in my left top corner. Very simple. It works in single player and multiplayer. It just tells you your light level, wherever you're standing. And if I press F4, it tells me what can spawn here, what can grow here. Very cool. Nice mod. I think you can just Google Minecraft light mod or light level mod. I think you'll find it. I'll probably put a link in the description. Anyway, so I put this wall around it, and the cobblestone looks really nice now. And the theory that I had was that, like I said, mobs preferred to spawn in light level 0 as opposed to, say, light level whatever. We know that hostile mobs will spawn with a minimum of level 7 lighting, but I was convinced that they spawned better the darker it was, and this was recently tested in an episode by Etho, and I was correct. They definitely spawn more in light level 0 than, say, light level 4 or 5 or whatever. So during the night when it's moonlight outside, it's light level 4. So you're going to get better results by building a wall even at night and making it completely dark in here. Just an FYI, that's pretty important. The spawns are significantly more, like almost twice as much, from light level, say, 7 until light level 0. So that's an important piece of info. What else about this? There's really nothing special about this. It took a lot of work to set up. It's in the sky, obviously. And the canal systems, they use those new stair method to not have any dead zones. You basically just put stairs here and a sign behind the stairs. And then you put the source water blocks on top of the stairs. And the signs are there to prevent this source block from backfilling over here. So we have a nice push right up the stairs, and it sends us along our way and into the death trap. Okay, so this is the passive mob system. I will show you how I collected the loot. And I need to go down the ladder, which is over here. And by the way, you can jump a too wide gulf, I guess I would call it, in Minecraft. I can't because it's only a too high ceiling. But if this was 3 high, I could jump. You just gotta time it right. Anyway, I digress. I will show you the catwalks that I made below this to set up the loot collection system, and also to do the canals. These blackish blocks are glass, and above each of these is a lava blade which kills the animals. Can't really see it all that well, but trust me, there's one above there. And it drops the loot directly into this glass chute, which is only 1 by 2. And I have 3 of them because I have 3 traps. And we're going to go take a look at how I brought all the loot together. And the lava blade, by the way, is a very efficient way for killing. It does not destroy much of the loot, very little. Maybe 1% or 2% of the loot gets lost. And that's usually because it glitches and it falls somewhere that you don't want it to fall, not necessarily into the lava. If you do it right, it works very well, and it kills very quickly within about 2 seconds for, oh, this is the wrong ladder. Within about 2 seconds for every mob. And I'm all sorts of fail today. And these are chests, by the way. They look really cool with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 chests are full of cooked pork chops, because when a pig dies in lava, it cooks the pork chop when they drop it. All of these are filled with pork chops. I have so many pork chops, and I got 3 stacks of leather, 5 or 6 stacks of wool, and I have about 3 stacks of eggs in a different one. So I'm getting a lot of loot from this. Anyway, the loot collection system was a little bit complex. It was difficult to make. We have these 3 chutes that drop into these water streams, and the water streams eventually bring all the loot to a central point which drops down. This was really irritating to make. I just had to get the water currents right to make them diagonal and to get them to flow exactly where I wanted it to. That was irritating. You can see they flow around this block here, and also flows. They all flow into the center, basically. This used to be a lava blade because I'm having issues with pigs getting through. Pigs and chickens tend to fall underneath those lava blades and make it through this system. I made this like say 20 blocks high. I figured that the fall would kill the pigs, but they're actually landing in water, so it doesn't always kill them. Sometimes it does. And I tried moving the source blocks back. It doesn't really seem to have much of a difference. I'd have to make the depth really low, and I just haven't got around to doing that. And I think I found a better way of killing the pigs from one of Etho's videos. I think I'm going to put a ladder right here on this block, and a pig cannot fit through a 1 block gap if there's a ladder on one of the blocks. So they'll get stuck here, and I'll put lava or something above them, and they'll jump into the lava and die. I'll probably do that. Not sure. I'll figure it out though. And the loot, like I said, flows directly into this collection area. It hits a pressure plate which plays a note block to let me know loot's arrived, and it lights a torch. Very simple wiring, kind of optional. And all the loot falls right down here. And I also made a chicken separator, which I think I made a clip of already where there was a bunch of chickens, so I wanted to record that. So I'll show that in a bit. And that's basically the passive mob system. So I've gotten the chicken separator working. Works very, very well. Happy with it. Chickens stay up there, eggs drop down to this pool, and I just pick them up. How does that work? Really easy. I saw this on one of Etho's videos, but actually I had already figured out. Excuse me. I'd actually already figured out how to do it by then, but his way was a little bit more refined. All I did in the loot chute was put a source block of water, and we know that when chickens fall down and hit water, they won't go any further. They'll jump up and float and swim, so it's just a side channel that brings them over here. That's it. Very, very easy. And see, the chickens are floating. They will not come down, but their eggs will come down. So I just sit here and collect. So I'd like to make some cake. I just got to find some cows up on my platform to get milk from. One thing I forgot to mention was not only do I have this passive mob system, I also have a new system for killing squid. It doesn't preserve the loot as of right now because I didn't really care to have that many ink sacs. I have tons of them. And that squid that was below me is still there. The way you catch squid is by playing on their behavior, and once a squid falls down in the water, and it goes to the lowest point of the ocean and it can't swim back up. And it's going to be very difficult to see, but there's a squid here, and he is stuck in a little hole at the bottom of the ocean. He can no longer swim up. So what you do is you make multiple collection points if it's an ocean, or you can make your own aquarium if you're on a dry land. And you go to the bottom. You could probably just look where the squids are collecting, and then when you find those, you dig down a couple extra blocks, like here. And then I have just an opening where the water flows in, and the squid fall down into these, and it pushes them into these cacti. And I think that's cool. That looks really cool. These cacti look also pretty cool. I have sand planted at the bottom, and cacti will stay here in water. It works just fine. The only thing is I had to knock out the adjacent blocks to the cacti, the one you can see back there, and one there, one behind it over there, or else they wouldn't be able to be planted. But this makes essentially a solid wall of cacti. The squid fall down into here, and they grind themselves against this, and they die. That's the easiest way to kill squid. I just got tired of seeing 20 squid all the time. If you want to preserve the loot, I think a lava blade would work very nicely, or you could drop them through lava, like a very small lava pool. Though they might try to swim up through that if you wanted to preserve loot, and that wouldn't work too well. There's plenty of ways to kill them, basically. And Etho even figured out that you can move squid vertically upstairs and stuff, and fences. So you can even make a squid elevator if you wanted to. And I'm going to start, end this episode by talking about the various farms I've created. I was going to show you the farms that I've created. One is automatic and two are semi-automatic. We'll start with the automatic cactus farm, cacti. This is really easy to make. You make a pool of water underneath, which will deliver the cacti to anywhere you want. So you could even make this all flow into a single stream if you wanted to. And the way cacti farming works, automated at least, and is we know that if you put a block adjacent to a cacti, it will pop out of the ground, right? I'm trying to find some sand to demonstrate. See, again, sand looks different and sandstone looks different, so it's hard to sometimes it's hard. Okay, so if we have this, we know that if we put a block here, I can't plant the cacti because it would excuse me, the world is lagging a little bit. If I planted the cacti here now, it's fine, but if we have a block here, it'll pop out, and that's the whole secret to farming them. We have the cacti here, then we have a block on its second level. So when this cacti grows, and it will grow, as soon as it grows, it will notice there's a block adjacent to this cacti. I can't place it there, and it will pop right off, and it will fall into the water, and then you have your automated cacti farm. Demonstration, like that. And that's how that works. And then you just need a collection mechanism basically to bring it to wherever you want. So that's how that automated cacti farm works. I have so many cacti now, I don't know what to do with all of them. I have 5 stacks plus a bit. The second farm that I created was a automatic, semi-automatic sugar cane farm. And we have the sugar cane here, which looks also pretty cool. And behind them are pistons, 2 for each cane on the second and third level of the cane. And I also have this flowing at different levels here. So this way I can get the water stream to flow all the way. So every 8 blocks or so, just drop the farm down a level. You could also put them on either side and put a block in the middle to collect it and send it over here. You would need another piston to push it into the new stream. That can be done. It's not that hard. Oops. And these are ice. I mean, that looks really nice. Anyway, how you build this. It's redstone intensive and repeater intensive, and this is the new look of redstone. You need a repeater for each piston because or otherwise these lines get all crossed and they will not activate the pistons, and you're going to have basically a continuous power loop. And I also have a piston here to isolate. Essentially we have 2 main lines of power. They emanate from this button here, and one line takes care of this section. A line goes up here, and it also activates these pistons. This is the lower piston. So this line takes care of this entire section. Then I have this repeater to isolate it from the next. And the second line goes into this repeater just to keep the signal going. And then goes into these pistons and also up to these pistons. Like I said, I have to isolate the 2 sections in order to get it to work a little bit nicer. All the repeaters are set to 1. They don't really need much of a delay. If you wanted them to go off at the same time, and you can set your own delay, not a big deal. And when I press the button, all the cane get dropped into the water, like so. Sometimes some will fall down on the dirt blocks and they won't go into the water. I don't think there's any way to fix that. I think it just has to do with game lag. So what I usually do is I just walk along here and I pick up any blocks or any cane that got stuck, and I walk down the collection point and I just collected 30 sugar cane. Very easy. This is about as big as I'm going to make it. I don't need much more than this. I just want to finish my library at my base at spawn. And finally, I'm going to show you automated mushroom farming. This may or may not be that practical because mushrooms grow very slowly, but it is a semi-automatic way to farm them. This is my own modification of a design by, I think the guy's name starts with like EKH or something like that. If you go to the Minecraft wiki and type in mushroom farming tutorial, you'll see the guy's design. It's called the pentapipe because it had 5 pipes. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pipes total. And I could even make it bigger and bigger. But this is already big enough. I put the seed mushrooms, the ones that I plant, to make the rest of them grow, in these 2 pipes over here. That's not a good way to show them. Alright, they're in there. And then mushrooms actually can grow through solid blocks. I plant them there and they actually grow here, 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 all over the place. And then you have a series of pistons with water sources to flush them out. But I found out the wiring for this large design was going to be a real pain in the ass, so I didn't do it. If you want to do this one, it's on the wiki. But before I looked up on the wiki and found this, I created this, and this is much simpler to make. I think it grows a little bit faster, honestly. And I'm going to show you how it works. I have the ceiling here so no mobs can spawn inside this. Though the only drawback to this are there are 3 blocks in here where mobs can spawn. Bad mobs, unfortunately, but that's really not a big deal. That's a very small area. You're not going to have many spawning there. Put some torches up. Okay, now back here, I have these on different levels. The seed mushrooms are up there and along the sides. And we have back here, trying to find a place to put torches. There we go. Back there you can see a piston from above, which is holding back a water source block. And all I have to do to farm these is press the lever, and I really should have put it over here. And I suggest you have a lever because a button, the water won't flow long enough to wash them out. I press the lever, and all the mushrooms wash right out where I collect them. Now I took the ceiling away to show you how it works. You actually can leave the ceiling in. You just have to have a couple blocks of space. Let me turn this off. You need those 3 blocks where those mobs can spawn, unfortunately, in order for the water to wash down from this level to this level. So ceiling would be right here, and we'd have these 3 spots here where the water washes down from the top level. And that's really all there is to it. It's a very simple way to farm mushrooms. Why'd those pop out? Anyway, oh, because I have the torch there. Mushrooms won't grow in 12 or greater light, or 13 I think, 13 light level, something like that. So you can't put torches right next to them. And I just leave this completely dark. I just cover it up. I don't get all that many mushrooms. I got, let's see, 9 of those, and I already had a bunch here, so I probably got like maybe 20 mushrooms total from that. So I'm not sure if it's all that practical, but it is a semi-automatic way to farm them. So those are the 3 farms that I've created. Pretty happy with most of them. The mushroom farm leaves a little bit to be desired, but it works. And here's my tree farm. And I think that's going to be more or less it for this episode. I covered the passive mob system and the squid collection and the 3 farms. Next episode I'm going to look at the new hostile mob system 3.0, which is over there. And I think you'll be very impressed. I'm very, very happy with it so far. It's exceeding all my expectations. It's one of the most, if not the most, efficient mob killing systems I've seen in Minecraft to date. I don't really want to brag, but it's very efficient. It works very well. Alright, so I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you guys next time.